morning, everyone, and welcome once again to our time together. We were together last Sunday, and we're back with great news. Welcome, Reverend Newsom.
Thank you. Last Sunday we talked about deepening, and this Sunday we're going to talk about going horizontal, going to bonding with other people. And all this, of course, at a spiritual level.
We look forward to this time together. Thank you for tuning in and for being you and being together at this time. Thank you.
But the burden isn't light. This, my body, bag and stand free, reminds me that I am just a man. To fly. Well, my. You know my faith is rich and strong, and I know my purpose is my song, to hear it and sing it true. I have nothing more nor less to do. Start to cry. Well, my, well, my,
I want to welcome you really from my heart to yours. This is really a sacred time in which we might not be physically together, but we really experience the love and the connection that we all share as a spiritual community. This is the time to be aware of how our thoughts and emotions matter and do make a difference. It's just part of what unity teaches. It's the law of mental action. is the law of consciousness, the law of attraction. So I invite you to be so open to this service today in which you and I and all of us can really experience the love that we are, the peace that lives in us as spiritual beings. That's our natural state. Our consciousness matters. I have a beautiful quote here from Albert Einstein, who said, "Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality." And I'm sure that you, like us, we want to see abundance, we want to see healing, we want to see transformation. We pray for a cure, but we open up to what this whole worldly circumstance has in store for our awakening as a humanity. So we stay high, we stay present, we stay in love, and we stay open to let Spirit give us the downloads, give us the revelations that are so ready to come forth in our awareness. I hold that for you and that for our entire community. Thank you for being part of this big family. I love you and I bless you, and I behold the Christ in you.
We were born before the wind, also younger than the sun. Ere the bonny boat was won, as we sailed into the misty. Often I hear the sailors cry, smell the sea and touch the sky. Let your soul and spirit fly into the mystic. When that foghorn blows, you know I will be coming home. When that foghorn whistle blows, I wanna hear it, and
Last week we talked about deepening, and in that we were talking about basically finding more ways to become fully in touch with who you are as a being, and also a way of quieting the mind so that we might go deeper, and developing a relational aspect with the divine. Today we're going to talk about bonding, which is in our D-bo-ho idea, deepening, bonding, and holding. This is the part where we're moving out into the world. We're making contact with the outer world. We're expanding our field out into contacting with other people. And in so doing, we can maintain something of the relationship aspect of life that is such a big piece of it, where we love and we care and we feel connected to other people. This is the bond, not the James Bond, the bond of humanity to each other. So let's begin. Let's consider this idea that one of the things that has happened over the course of humanity's development, especially as we have grown in our philosophical understanding, is that we have come to realize more and more that compassion is the real connector of human beings that causes societies to prosper and for people inside those societies to thrive. One of the things over the course of history that we've learned is that when there's a lack of compassion, there's let's say, a concentration of wealth and power in a small few, and then the many are struggling to survive, then life is not great on the whole, except for perhaps the few. It may be not even really for them. But it's not great for everybody when there's a lack of compassion, when the laws are not designed to find some sense of equality and opportunity for people, when there's a lack of taking care of everyone, when we realize that, when society doesn't realize that everyone is interdependent and therefore is let loose the hounds of competition and have turned it against each other because we have designed it that way. This is not paradise. These times are very difficult. And over the course of time, we have become a more compassionate world, although there are ups and downs, and currently at this point, this idea of the separation of rich and poor is still very much part of it, and we are not able to always see each other, especially in first world to third world, or very wealthy to the average human being, to see ourselves in each other. But when we do, when we develop this sense of compassion, in amazing things can happen. We lift everybody up. We set the rules of the game of life such that everyone can win. This is a fundamental thing that needs to happen for a society to be a happy and productive one. One of the odd things that happened around the time of one of the plagues in Europe was that after the plague, there was a leveling of opportunity. There were more people, there was a lot fewer people, and therefore there was a lot of cheap housing, so the price of housing came down. And one of the things that also happened was that people's labor was very much more valued because there were fewer people to do it. And so there was a equalizing, essentially, of opportunity for people in a way it had not been in the feudal system ahead of time. This led, some believe, to the philosophical period called the Enlightenment, in which people began to honor humanity, where the lines, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights." These words were not possible in that feudal system before, but came out of the Enlightenment when we had leveled the playing field again. And compassion for our fellow man and woman was the order of the day rather than the me-only attitude. So one of the things that could be happening out of this period of our history, the one that we're going through right now, is the realization that we're all in this together,
that there is no separate I that keeps us safe, that we can just do it our way and we will be safe, that what happens on the other side of the world does not affect us, that what happens to what we do out in public or what others do out in public does not affect us. We are all in this together. And this deeper understanding might be the basis of a deepening of compassion, of understanding and evaluating everyone and everyone's position in the world. Albert Einstein, as most of you know, is considered one of the great geniuses of the 20th century, and I'd like to read you what he says about this. A human being is part of the whole, called by us universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings, as something separate from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest us. Our task is to be much more free with ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living beings and all of nature. If you follow the great teachers of spirituality, they all seem to come back to this idea that compassion, that seeing oneself in the other, is fundamental to becoming fully yourself, to becoming really fully human. So our job in this time of coronavirus is to develop compassion, not only by looking deeply within ourselves and finding the depth of understanding of who we are, but by looking outward and extending this compassion outward. Since we're a spiritual community, one way we can do that, and certainly we can do it within the confines of our own home, is to pray for others. If we will develop the habit of praying for others, then we begin to open ourselves to this sense of mutuality, that we're both in this together, and that I pray for your happiness, health, or wealth or satisfaction of some kind. I pray for that. I am now bonding with you. I'm becoming aligned with you. My desire is that your desire is fulfilled. I care about you, and in caring about you and praying in that way, in whatever way we choose, I think people feel it. I don't know about you, but how many times have you gotten on the ready to call someone and they thought you were going to call to them, or they called you before you got to them? We are energetically connected. That vibration that Einstein said we and all the universe are, that vibration, or that series of vibrations that we are, that is what connects us. We cannot be separate from the world we're in. Deepak Chopra was once asked, how do you know that we're all connected? And he says, well, if you're not, just step out of it. Step out of this universe. Step out now and see if you can do it. No one can do that because we are embedded here. And we're embedded not by ourselves, but with everyone else. So our job is to pray for others. And in praying for them, we begin to deepen our bond to them. This deepening is really the heightening of our spiritual practice for this week, where we say prayers for others. Now, I have a suggestion on this, that instead of starting with the people that you don't like, start with the people you care about and say a prayer for them. Say a prayer that they might be happy or healthy or wealthy or satisfied in some way. Make that prayer request. Say it in a positive, say it in an affirmative, but say it with feeling. Say it in silence or say it out loud, but say it with feeling. Feel that you wish them to be happy, healthy, wealthy, or satisfied in some way. Say it internally or externally, but say it with feeling. And when you do this, then you send out this vibration that will send something that connects the two of you. you now begin to be bonded. You begin to have this simpatico experience. Somehow you are related. And then, when you've gotten done pretty well with that, then you go to people who you don't know, but you see at the takeout window, or you know from them on TV that they're doing hospital work, or they're your neighbor, but you don't know them that well. Say a prayer for them. You send your love, your compassion out to them. You hope for their happiness and their satisfaction. You extend yourself to them. Do that. Do that with gusto, with feeling also. And then we go, once we've kind of gathered ourselves into this practice of praying for others fully enough, then let's go to those people we don't like and see if it's possible to break down the barrier of who we think they are and who we think we are in comparison to them, and jump over that barrier by praying for their happiness, their health, or their wealth, or their satisfaction in some way, and doing it progressively with more feeling. See if we can do it in such a way that we actually care. We actually have compassion for them and their life. It may take a few days to get this down to where you can feel like you can do this, but the practice is a good one. It also reduces our sense of isolation. We no longer feel like we're just caught here, but now we have reached out and we have touched them. And so we're not so much sequestered as we had been. We're now in the flow with other people. We're feeling their experience. We're caring about their experience. So this is part of the bonding experience that we can have. I know someone who works as an intuitive healer. And one of the things that helped her to become an intuitive healer was that she had her own suffering to do. Happens quite a bit. Many of the deep teachers or healers, most of all the shaman, are almost required by definition to have had a big suffering. And through that big suffering, there developed an ability to care for others who are suffering as well. To actually, somehow, during the time of suffering, there was somehow a deepening in spirituality as well. This intuitive I was telling you about, one of her processes was to be awoken by some non-physical teacher who would say, "Get up, it's time for you to practice." And in the middle of the night, she'd have to get up and sit in her chair, and then to try to overcome the physical constrictions she was feeling in her own body. And because it was happening to her right then, her ability to move her energy around became more profound because it was required. And in so doing, she became good at moving energy. And so she began to have the ability to move energy for other people at a distance. Now, many of you have experienced this and some of you have not, but if you have experienced this, you know that someone can pray or move energy for you, and there is a shift. Something changes. I want to tell you a really good story about this. I had a friend who I had known a long time, and he married and had 3 kids. And at age 10, the oldest child fell down in the kitchen and appeared to have had a stroke. And it turned out that this child of 10 had a brain bleed. And the bleed was so much that it paralyzed this young boy's body. The whole left side of his body ceased to work. He couldn't move his arms or his legs. And I don't remember if his speech was affected, but I'm pretty sure it was, that he couldn't speak, couldn't walk, talk, or move his hands at all. The interesting thing about this was that his wife, my friend's wife, was a very good writer. She was a lawyer by training, and she wrote beautifully, and she described their experience and what was happening to that family. And it became a viral event as she sent it out on the internet, and it went out to thousands of other people. It went around the world. Essentially, there was no country that they knew of that somebody had not read this. It was quite an amazing thing. All the while, they were searching for a cure. And one of the things that happened was they stopped the bleed, they got that, but he was stabilized but still paralyzed. They decided to have a prayer event, and so it turned out to be essentially a world event. Of not that huge a number, but a significant number of people decided to pray at a certain time, a certain day for this boy. They did. So they did that on, let's say, on a Saturday night at 7. In the morning, my friend and his wife went to the hospital to see the boy, and he sat up and he spoke with him. It was so successful. They said, well, we'll do this again. And they did it again. And the next time he got up and walked. And then the next time he just gained a little bit more mobility. So they did it 3 times. And in those 3 times, this boy was affected immediately. I went to talk to the boy some years later. And he goes, I don't know about you. I don't know if you believe this, but I think prayer had something to do with my recovery. Very modest statement for what had happened. I think we are more than it appears. We're more powerful than we appear to be because we have identified with the body and the brain as being who we are. But when you really come to know yourself, perhaps you'll have this sense that I'm more than this. And being more than this, perhaps you actually have more power than the body and the brain can explain. Maybe there's something transcendent about you, something that you can allow yourself to be a presence for other people, to come with love and compassion for other people in such a way that you begin to develop a bonding, a loving, powerful relationship with them. And this can all happen while you are perhaps even suffering as you are. It's not that you have to have a perfect life to love and to care for others. You are indeed a powerful being beyond measure, not easily defined by body and brain, but something grander, something more complete. So my invitation to you this week is to practice praying for others. It will do something good for you. It will deepen your experience of yourself for sure. It will do something good for others. They will begin to feel the love and compassion you have for us. And it will begin to build a society in which we have love and compassion, which is the foundation of powerful and successful societies that are not based on accumulating wealth and power in one small pocket, but distributing happiness throughout the population. We have a unique opportunity with this situation we're in to reorder society. Next week, we're going to talk about holding a vision for the future of society. But this week, what we're doing is we're praying for others, a powerful, healing, and transformative practice. Pray as you wish, but please pray for others in the coming week. Let us pray now. Our powerful, incredible, loving self joins with the powerful, incredible, loving selves of others, and we hold as one big community the possibility of bringing love and light to individuals and to our community at large. Hold with me this idea and pray with me that this is true, that the people you love, the people you know, and the people you don't like all feel the love and compassion from your heart, that they all feel the kindness of your true being, and they know with you that they are one with you and all others. We are not separate, we are one. And this is our truth, and we hold it to be so. Take a deep breath in, and let this flow out of you as though you were a radiant sun into the world. Take a deep breath in and let your heart radiate this out into the world. And take a deep breath in and feel it for yourself. And so it is. Amen.
Hello, everyone. Ruben Schuler here, your Board of Trustees President. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you for your continued support. Without your generous donations, the staff and the board would not be able to continue to put on these incredible video productions every Sunday. As we continue to shelter in place, I want to thank you for your continued support. And I'd like to take a moment to let you know also that we will be holding a congregational meeting next Sunday via Zoom directly after the service. So plan for next Sunday after the service to attend a congregational meeting where you'll meet our new board members and you'll hear the board and the staff's plan to get us back into our homes safely after the governor's order has been lifted. Again, thank you so much for your support. So I'd like you now to take your gifts into your hands or into your heart now and say these words with me together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Again, thank you. We'll see you next Sunday after the Sunday service for the congregational meeting. And I look forward to seeing your smiling faces and giving each one of you a hug personally when we're able to return to our church home on Munford Road.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Oh, baby, won't you please stand by me? Stand by me. If the sky we look upon should tumble and fall, and if the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stay and stand by me. Oh, darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, baby, won't you please stand by me? Stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Oh, baby, won't you please stand by me? Oh, darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, baby, won't you please stand by me? Stand by me. Won't you stand by me? Oh, stand stand by me.
I hope you had a great time with us today. We love being with you. We'll see you next week. Please stay connected, and we'll see you again on Sunday at 11.
The light of God surrounds us.
I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God.
And the presence of God watches over us.
I am the presence of God.
Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Happy Sunday, everybody. We hope you've enjoyed today's Sunday service. We miss you and we miss seeing your smiling faces. And because of that, we've created Cyber Fellowship Time, which, by the way, starts right now. So if you're watching this on our Facebook page, click on the link to our Zoom chat, which is going to be popping up right around now on the comment section here. If you're watching this on our website, click on the link below this box here. Grab your cup of coffee, your lunch, or both, and head on over. We look forward to seeing you in just a bit.